Hello my gorgeous makeup loving friends, how's it going? Welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, hi, my name is Teresa. Today we are looking at the W7 Mardi Gras palette, which, in case you didn't know, is a pretty clear rip-off of BPerfect's Carnival 3. So today I am comparing the two palettes. So part of it is comparing the swatches. So there's a part of the video where I'm swatching both palettes. So, you know, guess which one. And I am also doing an eye look with the W7 and comparing it to the same eye look with the BPerfect. So that does mean that this particular eye look, one eye is BPerfect and one eye is W7. I know, the intrigue. So I'm also kind of making it a little bit of a bad science. Get back down there, fringe, do what you gotta do, because I wanted to look at the ingredients lists and see where there might be a difference, and that is that part of the video. So there's swatches, there's a tutorial, and then there's a little bit of bad science and then a review. So if that sounds like your kind of thing, then well, hey, this is the video for you. Do please keep on watching.
So over on the right hand side is the BPerfect Stacey Marie, and on the left hand side is the W7 Mardi Gras palette. So you can see there's a lot of similarities. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to swatch these palettes. I'm not going to tell you which one is which, and we can see how they work. I'm going to swatch them on my arm. I know I normally do it on my face, but frankly, there's a lot of shades to go through here, and I don't want to constantly be rubbing at my face. So if you want to see if they are really a complete dupe, what's the formula like, etc., well then the swatchy bit is the next one, and I will probably voice it over because screw that noise. So here we have a beautiful pasty Irish arm. So I'm going to swatch one palette on the top and one palette on the bottom. So I want you guys to figure out which one you think it is. So obviously I started off going column by column, and on the BPerfect palette basically I'm swatching from Forest all the way through to Lagoon, and on the W7 I'm swatching from Envy through to Riviera. So you can kind of see there isn't a huge kind of difference in tones between, say, Bamboo and Emerald, which is the second shade, but then you can kind of see there is a difference between Khaki and Olive on the palettes. So that's the one next to the blue. So you can see some difference in shades there, but overall pretty similar. And now we're going through from Clay to Hibiscus on the BPerfect palette, and Cider through to Invitation on the W7 palette. Again, you can kind of see here really similar in terms of color story. There's definitely one palette that swatches better than the other, and some I kind of did have to do 2 or more swipes on, like that particular shade, Living versus Coral. So that third last shade, you can really tell that is quite different on one palette versus the other, and you can kind of see some difference in terms of the shimmers as well. And now I'm looking at Mango through to Fruity on the BPerfect palette, and Alter Ego through to Mardi Gras on that particular palette. And again, I think you can see differences in terms of the shimmers. You can really see there when you're looking at Chili Pepper versus Marita on the W7 to BPerfect palette that there is a difference. Again, having to do a couple of swatches there, but nothing major. And yeah, that's the third kind of sample there. And then the very last one that we're looking at is from Lilac through to Black Beach and Identity through to Midnight on the W7 palette. So again, you can see there on that third shade down the kind of rosy pink shade. You can see some kind of differences, or rather, sorry, it's magenta. And there's definitely a difference in terms of the texture And I also got to see the difference between Blackberry and W7's dupe, which was Van Dyck, which, weird. Why did they go for that? Strange name choice.
Okay, so that's it. They're all swatched. So which do you think is W7 and which one do you think is BPerfect? Is it the top or is it the bottom? I think you can see that it is pretty much a dupe. Like most of the shades are pretty darn similar, like very, very similar. There's a couple of exceptions where you can see the shades are a bit different, but the top one here is W7 and the bottom one here is BPerfect. And I think you can see that there are definitely some shades that BPerfect just does better, like this shade and like even the shade Chili Pepper, etc. But there are some shades that W7, the swatches are better in it. So yeah, that's where we are in terms of the swatches. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do an off-camera look with the BPerfect and then see can the Mardi Gras do the same look on the other eye. So if you want to see that, then that's the next part of the video. So this is obviously the look that I did with the BPerfect palette. I'm going to tell you the shades that I used in that. I used Key Lime, Tahiti Green, Tropics, Yellow, Rum, Vanilla, Chili Pepper, Bloom, Magenta, Blackberry, Black Beach, and Twilight. So I'm going to be using the corresponding colours in the W7 to create this particular look. If you're wondering about the glitter, I used a Collection Glam Crystal in Glitz. It's nuts, it's so good. And then I put a bit of NARS of the white one on the waterline. So that's what we're going to attempt to do now. So I'm using the same sort of brushes that I used the last time, but I put them through the colour switch, so it should be fine. I'm using this Jessup 230 and I'm going into the shade Acid. I do wish the writing was a bit bigger on these because it's hard to see. And I'm just stamping that down. I will say I had a little bit of trouble getting this particular colour in the BPerfect to kind of turn up, which was a little bit frustrating, but it could be that I am using a palette that is 9 months old, although that shouldn't really have an impact, but there you go. I must confess I don't really tend to reach into the BPerfect that much. I know it's a holy grail for a lot of people, but I don't love it that much. Sauce. I'm using the Jessup 234 now and I am going into the shade Shamrock. Yeah, Shamrock. And just gonna put that there. So obviously it's like a double cut crease type thing. I don't know what it was that I decided I was going to do. Now this is nowhere near the same pigment as the one in the BPerfect. I think this is far inferior to the BPerfect one. Like I really am having to take a lot more pigment than I did with the BPerfect, but you can see it does build. So like we're not gonna throw it out based on that. So it looks pretty decent so far. I wanted to use as many colours as possible to really kind of get an idea of what's going on. And then I'm just using this dew colour brush and I'm going into the shade Zesty and just kind of popping it there between the two. Yeah, okay, this is not the same sort of pow as the other one, although again, it does build up. So, not annoyed about it. So I'm on to the next part of the double cut crease, and because I'm very smart, I actually forgot to mention some of the shades that I used in the BPerfect. So other ones that I used were Blue Moon, Lagoon, and the Deep. So I'm apparently very stupid today. It's a whole thing. And anyways, I'm using this Jessup 237, and I'm going into the shade Ball. And that's what I'm putting into the kind of inner kind of corner here. So yesterday I put up a video of my partner Sahil doing my makeup, and I had so much fun editing that. Like it was a really fun time for me, and it seems you guys have really enjoyed that video. So let's see, can I annoy him to do another one with me, because I really enjoyed it. Here we go. Ooh, actually that's pretty. Okay, I think this has better pigment than the BPerfect. I think this is a slightly better shimmer. Interesting. Interesting. I'm just going to go into Riviera, same brush again. Because I mean, it's not even so much that it's a dupe, but it's a total knockoff. They've taken Stacey Marie's colour story and just kind of gone, well, this is ours now. And this has obviously rubbed a lot of people up the wrong way. I do wish they hadn't maybe put it out in the exact layout, and even the packaging is very similar. And I think that's kind of bugged a lot of people. Okay, I think the pigment on this one is also better. Oofed. Same brush again, and I'm going into Sapphire now. But I know some people are kind of like, oh, you know, she's worked so hard on it, and it kind of, like, I mean, they came out with this about 9 months after. Okay, this is not the best pigment. I do think BPerfect is superior when it comes to the dark blue. But it does suck that they came out with it so soon after the initial palette. Like, it kind of feels like they really did just pounce on it. Yeah, this is definitely not as good a pigment as the BPerfect, but you do seem to be able to build it up. I will also say the green Shamrock here, when you compare it to Tropic here, I think this is a lot more blue toned and this is a lot more yellow toned. But I think when you put it all together, you probably can't just, or at least I'm hoping, otherwise I'm going to have very weirdly mismatched eyes. Yeah, this is not as good a pigment, but again, I think people who are better at makeup than me will probably make it work. I'm just not one of those people. I am taking this Morphe M562 now, and I'm going to go between the shimmer and the pale blue and just kind of swish them across. But yeah, it does kind of, I feel really bad for Stacey Marie. She obviously would have spent like months and months kind of coming up with this color story and perfecting the formulas. And then W7 just takes it and doesn't even bother to rearrange the colors or kind of change the theme that much. So in that sense, I'm kind of like, oh God, that's not great. But then I also know there's so many people who can't afford the BPerfect. I just kind of wish that in instances like this, you know, when it's like a collaborator thing with a brand. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go between the dark blue and the light blue in the W7 and just kind of merge it there. I do kind of wish almost they not paid a, well, yeah, paid a fee maybe, just because, like, I mean, they're kind of taking her idea, and if they at least acknowledged that, I don't think it would be as bad. Taking the same brush and going into the very light blue to just kind of build it up, because it kind of dispersed a little bit more than I would have liked. Because, like, say for instance in pharmaceuticals, if you come up with, you know, a recipe or whatever the thing is, like a thing for like a vaccine or whatever, I have vaccines on the brain, you have the patent for that for X amount of years and nobody else can use it until that patent has run up. And if they do, they have to pay like a fine. I kind of wish there was something like that in makeup. I think that would work pretty well. Okay, so I obviously have the next bit done. I feel very proud of myself. Taking another Jessup 237. That's right, I have two because I have my life together. I don't know why I said that. That was a terrible lie, but you know, I just want you to like me. Just like me. So I'm taking that and I'm going into Tuscan Sun and popping that in there, but also kind of down under the lash line a little bit. This does appear to be the same sort of shade. I would say not as pigmented as the BPerfect. But yeah, I kind of had said earlier that I put up a video of me and my partner doing my makeup. And slight update just with us. I am meeting his parents at the weekend. So if anyone has any recommendations on how to get an Asian parent to like me, please drop them below because I'm very nervous. I'm going to take a little bit of glitz actually for this because I kind of went a bit over it, didn't I? Well done, Teresa. Well done. That'll do, pig. That'll do. But same brush again, and if I remember correctly, which I probably don't, if I'm honest, I go into Jammin. Okay. Again, I think I'm too white to say these things. And pop that there. Okay. Now, the corresponding shade in BPerfect is crazy pigmented, like, you know, like very buttery. I would say this isn't bad, like this is actually pretty decent, but like that is a standout shade. I did try to use like some of the really standout shades from the BPerfect that I know are like favorites, hence this utterly manic look. There is like some rhyme to my reason. I'm now going into the shade Columbina. Columbina? Columbina. I don't know what that is. And I'm just gonna pop that there. Okay. This is yeah, it's not wonderful. It's not as good as the BPerfect one. But obviously you can make your mind up on this. It depends on what you think of things. I am also going to be talking about the ingredients list and where they're the same or where they're different, because I think that also helps to inform an opinion to see how they're different or similar. So I'm just going to pop that there. And same brush again, but this time I am going into Tahitian Pearl. Yeah, straight away kind of being like, hey, Tahiti. And I'm like, oh man, what were you doing? It was a terrible idea. So just popping that there, working it down, and then also working it over. Yeah, pigment is pretty darn similar on this one. So I would say they're eye for an eye there, which by the way, saying that as you're at your eyes, weird. Weird, 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 Teresa. Stop making it so weird. Sorry, it's just what I do. I'm taking a Morphe M562. It's clean, everything's fine, and basically just swishing back and forth. But yeah, meeting my partner's parents. Welcome to the way that my mind works. It is jumbled, so I'm kind of nervous about that. Because as I'm filming, it's Wednesday and this is going up tomorrow, so you have time. Tell me, I'm meeting them on Saturday. Tell me what to do, and don't say run away, because that's not helpful. Taking the same brush again, and I'm going into Jammin again to just pop a bit more pigment, because like you can see it's quite vibrant on this eye here. And I have Eyelure lashes on, just in case you're wondering. Yeah, you can see this yellow is not as pigmented as here. I think you can see some kind of clear differences, she says, hopefully. Yeah, I might take a little bit more of that Columbina, because yeah, it's not wildly pigmented, but there we go. And I'm just gonna swish that back and forth. I think the main difference though is probably the lack of pigment of the yellowy shade. So I might take a little bit more, like take the 237 again. Didn't have to work as hard with the other one, and go into, what is it called again? Tuscan Sun. Hey people who can see without glasses, what's that like? You all happy? Do you feel really content with yourself here? Yeah, I'm stamping that down. Obviously I have a primer down, just FYI. And I'll go back into Tahitian Pearl again to pop that on top. But yeah, it's definitely not as pigmented. Like it almost looks like it's faded straight away. I mean, it's definitely workable, and for the price, because I got it for £14.95, but I got a 10% off voucher. So, you know, I'm not going to get annoyed with it. Taking the Morphe brush again, the M562, and just swishy swishy. And now obviously to finish off this crease, and we'll do the last outer segment. Okay, we're on the home stretch now. We're doing pretty well. I'm using the Jessup 237 again. I was surprised. And I'm going into beads. Again, the corresponding shade in the BPerfect is bananas. It is crazy pigmented. Like, it's so, like, almost crumbly, I guess. I don't know. I'm not very good with words. Why are you looking at this video? I don't know what I'm doing. But this isn't bad. Like, it's not, I don't think it's as good as the BPerfect. But my god, it isn't bad for the price. Like, it really, really isn't. So it is a bit nuts though when you look at it, just how similar these are. Like, I think the main difference is probably in the green, but even on that, I think it's massive. You can see with this one though, it's not as pigmented as that one, in my opinion anyway. Feel free to disagree down below. What do you think of this? Like, what do you think of W7's actions on this? I know I'm probably the worst for actually even going off and buying it, but I was genuinely curious to see what the story was, and also I was like, oh, well, this will make a great video. David. Sorry. When in doubt, revert to being Moira Rose. Just my innate wish. I am using this Suva 350. Better put it through the colour switch because honestly, like, I don't know what I did last with it. And I'm going into the shade Bacchus. I don't know. And kind of just going from there. Okay. This is, I think, different to the BPerfect shade because there's more depth in the BPerfect one than there is in this one. Yeah, this one is not as good, I think. Right, let's make this work, guys. Let's make this work. Pat, 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 pat. Maybe I should wet the brush. JK, I'm not wetting the brush. Comment below if you know what that was about. We laugh now so that we don't cry. Yeah, definitely not as pigmented. Like, oh. Like I said, I wanted to make sure I used kind of shades that are pretty well known from the palette. And now I'm going into their dupe of Blackberry, which is Van Dyck, D-Y-C-K. And that's how I got demonetized. Oh well, it was a surprise I ever got monetized in the first place. Oof, okay. Bit of a rocky start there, getting that to come on. But I think we can make it work, can we? Bringing it down here as well. Like, I think it's quite similar in tone. Like, I will say though, the W7 seems to blend pretty well. Like, I'm not having any issues on that. Like, I'm impressed with that much so far. I'm taking this Morphe M562. That's right, I have 3 of these because I'm ridiculous. And I'm gonna go between these 2 shades and just kind of swishy swishy. Again, I don't think it's as strong as this side, which is a bit of a pity. Maybe if I take those 2 shades, swish them on the brush and pop them there, that might help a bit. I think definitely the BPerfect side is a bit more pigmented in that sense. But it's like, what? Almost a third of the price, so, you know. And then I'm going to take the shades Bacchus and Van Dyck. Can I say that? And swirl them on this and just attempt to blend. Apparently I'm forgetting all of my words today. I think I'm just so nervous about the weekend. So, pray for mojo, I guess. It's not as pigmented, definitely not. I think Blackberry wins from the BPerfect palette. So, you know, if that was a standout shade for you and you wanted to say get a replacement palette, this probably isn't the one to get for that. I think I should maybe pack on a little bit more Blackberry because that is actually a bit, it's gone a bit weird, hasn't it? A bit patchy. Patchy. Yeah, not wonderful. I'm taking my Lowest Cosmetics brush and I'm going into Van Dyck and Midnight. And I'm gonna pop that there to kind of deepen it a bit. Oh god, that black is not great, is it? I think I hear Stacey outside. Oh dear, that is not great. Do you see that? That is pooling in a weird way. Anyways, probably people who are better at makeup than me could make this work, I would say. But I am me, and this is just how it is. So attempting to blend, and I'm bringing it up to there just to, you know, give it a bit more depth. But yeah, I definitely prefer this side, which is funny because usually this eye is easier to do makeup on. Does anyone have a preferred eye to do makeup on? Or is it just me who's an absolute weirdo taking the purple, the Van Dyck again? Okay, I'm actually just saying it now at this point because I'm like, ha ha ha. And swishy. This is not going the way I want it to go. It's funny though because when you look at the swatches, you're like, okay, these are actually quite similar, but I do think they perform differently on the eye. Do you know what? I'm too tired. She's so dedicated to the YouTuber. Too tired. Right, not doing that anymore. Oh man, that is not. Don't look, Rebecca. Don't look. Look away. Oh man, yeah. Okay. Pop on a pair of lashes, everything be grand. Oh man, do you see how like weird and patchy that is? And then you look over here. Look at that. That's a much better blend. Much better blend. And then you look at that. Oh man. Okay, come on. We can do this. We can do this. Pack. Maybe it's just my eye there. Because it's like, is it like watery or something? Maybe that's it. Maybe it isn't the shadow. I think it might actually just be my eye because it's kind of damp. So it isn't just letting the pigment set. Actually, take that with a grain of salt. This could be my weird eye because the fact that it's not sitting there. Okay, that is definitely, that's my eye. That is not the pigment. Because actually, look, you can see how I've managed to blend it elsewhere and it's actually turned out pretty darn decent. It's just here. So could somebody please get me new skin? That would be very helpful. From a channel. I have then this brush then, it's from Jessup. It's the 322, the brow liner. Not using it for that. And I'm going into the shade Moretta. The corresponding shade in the BPerfect is Bananas. Like, it's so buttery. So it's going to be interesting to see. Yeah, this turns out pretty well. This is good. Okay, I see you. You're not bad. You may survive. Okay, yeah, I'm happy with that one. Anyways, and I'm taking a Morphe M562 again, and I'm taking that Tahitian Pearl, and I'm just going to bring it down here and swishy. And through the color switch, and I'm going to just blend between these. I do think it's actually just my eye. Is it just my eye? Will we try it again? Anyways, whatever. First world problems. Yeah, I mean, that'll do. So I'm obviously going to go put lashes on, all that sort of jazz. And I want to come back and talk about the differences in terms of the ingredients and what each of them do. So it's almost like a bad makeup science. And then I'm going to give you my overall review and what I think of it. So keep on watching. So I had a little look at the ingredients list of the W7 and the BPerfect palettes. Now, part of what I thought was quite interesting was BPerfect just kind of listed all of the ingredients and didn't indicate how it differed per shade, but W7 did. So I thought that was quite interesting. So I'm going to show you the ingredients as they are listed on BPerfect's here, so you can see it on the screen. Now, each of these have different properties or reasons for being there, and actually part of what was interesting was a lot of these, with the exception of mineral oil, was also present in W7. So talc is essentially an anti-caking agent. It's generally considered safe to use, but if improperly used, there is some carcinogenic properties. Mica then is used as a color additive, and it also has some reflective properties, so it's good for shimmers. Magnesium stearate is used for lubricating properties, so it helps to stop the emulsions from separating into their oil and liquid components. They also listed kaolin, and that was on W7 as well, and this apparently can be used as a white dye, but it can also be used to relieve sensitive skin, absorb and regulate excess sebum, or fight against perspiration. The BPerfect formula had mineral oil. They didn't specify what mineral oil, just mineral oil, and that wasn't present in W7. And this is a moisturizer. Now, it does say online that this isn't recommended for acne-prone skin, so something important to remember. Both have ethyl palmitate, and that acts as a lubricant on the skin surface, so it gives the skin a soft and smooth appearance, and it does provide some adhesive qualities. They also have polyisobutane, which increases the thickness of lipid portions of cosmetics, and it helps to hold the ingredients of a compressed cake together. There's phenoxyethanol, and that is a preservative. And then when you see all the CIs, those are essentially colors. That's the specific dyes in it. Now you can see that W7 has a lot more kind of additional things. Now what I found interesting was they have ZMA starch, which is a bulking agent and a moisture absorber. And according to cosmeticsandtoiletries.com, there is a perceivably better skin smoothness with cornstarch than talc. And there seems to be a movement using this kind of ZMA's starch, this cornstarch, rather than talc because of some of the problems around talc. So I thought that was really interesting. Now, W7 has tridecyl tremolate, which is a skin softening agent and texture enhancer. So I guess pretty good if you have any issues around like your skin. It also has dimethicone. Now this is a little bit problematic if you have acne prone skin, so something to remember, but again we have a similar ingredient in BPerfect as well. There's also aluminum hydroxide, and that's an opacifying agent and skin protectant. They have pyroxenolamine, which is a preservative, but interestingly also found in anti-dandruff shampoo, which weird. They also have acrylate dimethicone copolymer, and that is apparently a binding agent, and it helps to ensure that the product adheres to the skin. They also have magnesium stearate, and that is, again, helps to prevent the separation of emulsions. There's petrolatum, which obviously is a derivative of petroleum, and that is used as a barrier to lock in moisture into the skin. So I guess that's an alternative to the mineral oil that is found in the BPerfect. And again, the remaining CIs are colours. So there's kind of a much in terms of the ingredients that are used. I would say obviously W7 has added in some additional ones because they've obviously decreased the amount of certain things. I would also say that the palettes are similarly weighted. I would actually say probably the W7 is a little bit heavier, but that's just on general feel. They obviously both have the mark to say the amount of time that they're allowed to be used for. This is 24 months. This is the BPerfect, and this is 18 months, and that's the W7. So I'm going to zoom you into the eyes now so you can actually see what they look like and see, can you see any perceivable difference between the two. So as a quick reminder, we have BPerfect here on the left eye and W7 on the right eye. You can kind of see them there. I think the difference, again, like I said when I was applying, is the green on the W7, it's Shamrock, is far more blue toned than Tropic in the BPerfect palette, which is far more yellow toned. I know I had an issue putting on the purple, but I think that was more to do with my skin and my eye than the actual pigment itself. That's just my opinion there. I'll take off the glasses and you can see these a little bit better. But I personally think you can't really tell the difference between, sorry, I'm just pinching my nose there because I know I probably have like imprints of glasses, but hey ho, it is what it is. I don't think you can really tell that there's a difference between the two. So it's up to you really. So what did you guys think? Is there a perceivable difference between the W7 and the BPerfect other than the price? We can't even say the packaging is that different. I think that's part of what gets me as well. I'm like, you've even kind of gone for the same sort of graphic design. Like, it's too kind of close for comfort in my opinion. I kind of wish they had done something different with it. And here's the thing, when playing with the W7, the formula is actually really good. Like, I quite enjoyed it. I think it was easy to work with. Yeah, there were some points where I had to pack on a little bit more colour than I did with the BPerfect, but it's also like not quite a third the price, but you know. It does bother me that they have taken an idea from somebody else, but again, some people just out and out can't afford BPerfect, and that's okay. If this is an alternative, they also may not necessarily want to buy from BPerfect due to things. Now, I'm going to put all of that aside and not think about, you know, it being a dupe. What is it like as a palette in and of itself? Stripping all of that away, I actually think that is pretty good. I used, how many shades? Use a lot of shades. 16 shades out of a 40 pan palette. So I used about 40% of it. And of that 40%, I actually think they performed really darn well. I will say, I think that the shade Ball in the W7 palette is actually superior to the BPerfect. Now, don't get me wrong, the BPerfect obviously has some better formulas in there, I think, particularly when it comes to some of the mattes. But all in all, I think this is pretty darn good. Let's push aside that it's a dupe. Let's not think about that. Let's just think of it as a palette in and of itself. I think this is really good. Really, really good. I would probably rate it as, yeah, an 8.5, a 9 out of 10. The quality is really, really good. I like it. But I don't like that they have taken somebody else's idea. That does really kind of bug me, but it's up to you guys. I just wanted to do this so that you could see where the similarities are, make a more informed decision to determine what it is that you guys want to do. Do you want to get this? Do you want to stick with your BPerfect? What's the story there? But that's it. That is the end of the video. Do please like, comment and subscribe. Turn on that notification bell so you can see more of whatever it is that I'm doing over here on this particular channel. As if I have another channel. I don't. It's just this. I don't have time for anything else. Do please share, because sharing is caring, unless of course it's an STD, in which case, you know, wrap it up. Don't be gross. But that's it. That's the end of the video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.